Howdy, everybody. Excellent. How's everyone doing today? So wait for the chat. Let's see, get some confirmation on audio and visuals. I got a ton of apps open. Let me go ahead and quit all of these. Don't need all these things open here. Okay. Yeah, we'll stick with that set. Here we go. Cool. Okay. Oh, there's the chat. Finally, my chat popped up. It took a while. Mr. Cole, Dr. Bob, David, Matthias, excellent. Jeff. Man, we have a record number of people watching today. I wonder why. So cool. Exciting day, as I'm sure all of you know, right? We got a lot of exciting stuff to talk about today. And yeah, so obviously, the version, you're going to be seeing Stacks beta 28 today. Okay. And yeah, it's exciting. It's got a lot of really cool features. It is not feature complete, obviously, yet, but you'll see today of all the awesome stuff. Now, hopefully you saw inside the email that Isaiah answered a bunch of questions that were posted on the community. I'm actually, let me bring that up really quick. I'm going to use that as my notes actually today. Cause yeah, he did a good job, kind of organizing all the questions and whatnot. So, that was nice. And he provided a bunch of answers. I'll try to elaborate and give some of my opinions about those and some of those things as well. But it is great to see the answers from the man himself so that, yeah, there's no questions or, concerns about what the official responses are, right? All right, let me bring up, here it is. All right. I think what we're going to do today, I think I'm going to start off with a tour, okay? We'll start off with a tour of Stacks, kind of show you what the app is, what it does. Maybe I can field some questions here or there throughout. And then after the tour, I'll bring up all the questions that were asked, and we can talk and answer anything that maybe I didn't cover in the tour. Okay. So hopefully that sounds like a plan. Yes, Stephen, everything is recorded. Yep. All my live streams are on YouTube. So if you ever miss any of my live streams, make sure you check them out. Almost every week. Okay. I do miss occasionally, but there is, over 40 per year. So, there are over 400 live streams alone on top of my 600 or so normal videos that I have. So yeah, we have a lot of videos on my YouTube channel. Okay. So make sure you check those out. Excellent. And if for those of you, this is your first live stream, welcome. Thank you very much for joining. Make sure you subscribe and all that jazz so we can spread the word and YouTube algorithms catch us more and more. And maybe post something in the comments too, because apparently that helps. So there we go. Okay. So without further ado, you guys aren't here to see my beautiful face, right? We want to look at Stacks. So let's go ahead and let's share my screen here. Okay. And so there we go. Okay. So here is Stacks. You'll see that it is version 6 beta 28 that just got shipped last night. Okay. Do your live streams have searchable transcripts? Sure, yes, Danny. Go to stacksguru.com and you can search through all of my videos. Thank you to Chris Powers. So everyone thank Chris for that awesome resource. He basically takes all of the streams, uploads them into Stacks Guru with transcripts that are 100% searchable. So pretty slick. So thanks, Chris, for that. As I said, you don't have beta 28, and this is not released. I have beta 28. Okay. So as you see, yes, will you guys get this? We'll answer those questions later. Okay. First, we want to do a tour. Yes, everybody has beta 10. That it was the last publicly available release. I have beta 28. Okay. Okay. Let's go ahead and let's create a new project. All right. So now, if you've seen some of my past live streams, I remember I tricked some of you guys in that I used Stacks during the entire live stream and didn't really say it, right? So here, I'll say it at the beginning. This entire live stream is going to be using Stacks app, okay? So as you notice, when you create a new project, the window opens up and hopefully the UI looks pretty familiar, right? It should feel at home. It's a very similar user interface to what we're using and building our sites with today. Okay. Very similar. We have our kind of the pages over here where you can have, your hierarchy of pages. There's some other things we'll go out. There's something called layouts, which we're not gonna talk about right this very second, but we'll talk about layouts in a little bit. It's one of the new features of Stacks. Okay. Then we have here our add-ons or our stacks that we have. As you see, all of my library groups that I had from the Stacks plugin, all right here, which is cool. Okay. We have a new tab in here, and this is where we can look at themes. Okay. So Stacks currently has a couple built-in themes, as well as we have a foundation theme, and I'm working to bring us Reason. Will be probably one of the first themes available for Stacks. It was a theme that I acquired from Nick Cates. So yeah, I'm going to be re-bringing back Reason, which is fun and cool. As you see, very nice theme by Nick Cates. Pretty soon it'll be a very nice theme by Weaverspace. Okay, so there we go. Inside here, very similar. You can see all of your various things. We have the update window, so you can go ahead and check for updates for Stacks. Things we've all been used to before. There is search as well, so you can search for a picture, right? Okay, so you can search and all that jazz. Okay, obviously, right here in the middle is our edit mode area where we can drag and drop and build out our pages. Okay, and preview and publish, or preview and edit mode. Okay. Next up is, let's look at the settings panes. Okay. Let's just go ahead and add in, we'll just add in site styles for now. Okay. You notice when you click on a setting or click on a stack, all the settings, as you would expect, show up over here in the panel or the tab on the right. Okay. Now let's look at some of these other ones. I'm actually going to go from right to left in here because it kind of makes sense with the workflow for how these tabs are organized. The very far tab on the right is your site settings. Okay, so this is going to be where we set up the title of our website, the domain of the website, things like what is the base, the default file name, the default extension, like for example that the default is HTML. If we want to make all new pages PHP, there we go. Okay. You can also, I think the base file name index is probably a great default. I wouldn't recommend changing that, but it's possible. Okay. Your copyrights. And this is where we can set up what is our homepage, what theme are we using. There's actually multiple ways of setting a theme. You can either change it here. You can actually change it in the theme tab, or you can actually go ahead and if you go ahead and double click on a theme, it actually changes it that way. So multiple ways to change the base theme. Okay. And then we have our primary layout. Again, I'm not going to talk about layouts right now. I will just in a little bit. Okay. Just kind of giving a generic tour right now. Okay. Next up, the next pane. Okay. Here, this is just kind of an info pane, right? So, if we go ahead and select any stack, it will display the info for that here. Okay. Over time, there'll probably be some more things added here. Like I know I've filed a bug for like adding the help URLs and help links and stuff like that for each stack here. So yeah, so this is again just kind of a way. Before, this used to be information that was like down on the bottom of the library window. Now it's over here in this pane, so we have a little bit more space to see information about the stacks that we have in our library. Okay. The next tab is going to be our themes. So let's go ahead and switch our theme to Foundation 6. And what you'll see here is this is where all the settings for a theme will be. Okay, so like if we go to Reason, here's going to be the settings, what the settings currently look like for Reason. This is very early stages on Reason. And here we see Foundation 6. I'll talk a little bit about Foundation 6 later on, but as you see here, Foundation 6, a lot of the site style settings have now moved into the theme, which is fun and exciting. Okay, so we'll talk about that, the difference in that workflow a little bit later if you guys want. So yeah, pretty straightforward. This is just all the various settings that we have for our themes right here in that pane. The next pane is going to be our page settings. Okay, so this is settings for our pages. So we can have our page title, the path for the page, the file name for the page. It's kind of nice that it gives you the preview URL as well as the actual published website URL. Okay, so if you quickly want to either copy the link or open the published web page for this page, nice little convenience there. Okay, whether or not we want a page to be published, whether or not it wants to show in the navigation, and then down here we can actually override. If I check this, I can then now override the theme settings for this particular page. Okay, which is pretty cool. Okay, so yeah, that allows us to override settings for and have specific settings from a theme for a particular page. All right. Then last one is our stack settings pane, right? So it's basically, if you think this goes from like the highest level all the way down to the lowest level, right? So our site settings, then the theme, then the page, and then individual stack settings. And obviously, just like as any stack, obviously we're in Foundation 6. We actually don't need site styles anymore. So yeah, now I have, I can add in columns and all that jazz. And whenever I, click on that, you'll see the settings change for those particular stacks, and you can change them here. Okay. Why Foundation 6 is beta? Well, it's the beta version of the theme, right? It's just the Foundation 6 beta theme, right? So, yeah, don't worry about that. Request built-in QR code generator. Okay, you can request that from Isaiah. There's already a QR code stack. Go check out my site, QR Coder. There you go. Okay. Or, there's a bunch of really nice QR code apps on the App Store. You can generate QR codes and use the images from that. Okay. But if you want to dynamically generate them, check out my QR code stack. Done. Okay. Which is kind of great. Okay. Just a little side tangent there. What's great about an app like Stacks is it doesn't need to have everything, right? Like, for example, like a QR code generator. There's an entire ecosystem of stacks that extend the app. Okay. And with Stacks.app, we're going to be able to extend it a little bit even more than what we could before. Okay. Which is exciting. Okay. So yeah. Okay. So now let's talk about layouts. I think that's probably a good time to talk about layouts now. And I'm actually going to close this default project, and we're going to open up this one that I have here. Okay. So this is just a little test project that I've created. Okay. And just has a few pages. I have a home page. I have a products grid page. Inside here, I have, a few sub pages, for each product. Then I have an about us page and a contact page. Okay. Nothing special. Okay. But what's cool about this is now where layouts are helpful. Okay. Let's look at a project, or think about a project that we've been using inside with the Stacks plugin. And especially something like Foundation. Okay. With that, you would need to add site styles to every page. And then you'd have to add in, when you build out your pages, you have to have everything of that page on your actual page. Okay. And what I mean by that is you have to have the menu, right? And you have to have the navigation or the sidebar and the page banner and all that stuff, right? And we could use partials to help manage that data better, okay? However, it kind of clutters up edit mode. And it would be nice, since that content was the same on every web page, like, why don't we have a separate place to edit that information, right? And with that, we enter layouts. Okay. So inside layouts, currently this project only has one particular layout. Okay. Here I have swatches. Okay. And here you'll notice that I have a banner, which is the background of this container, right? And then if we have our overlay, right? And you can, and this is just all the normal swatches, right? So I've used a couple swatches to enhance this container to give us a little banner, okay, and with a header. And if you notice down here there's this stack called content. And this is a special stack that is only available in layouts. And wherever you put this stack inside your layout is where Stacks will inject the page content. Okay, so yeah, so now I get to build my layout, and you can preview your layout as well. So here I've previewed my layout. I can kind of see how things are. And again, here's just the little placeholder for where my content for my page would be. Okay, and then if we go to our pages, and I can go ahead and preview my homepage. So here's the homepage, right? Super exciting. If you notice, I didn't see any of this banner or the website content or the layout inside edit mode, right? It just showed up. Pretty cool, right? So this is going to be a huge productivity boost because, yeah, it allows us to, create these layouts that we want for our web pages outside of our page content, right? So that we can, focus on just that. And if you look our pages, the contents of these pages only has what we need. This declutters edit mode immensely because it declutters things. It makes things faster. It makes preview. If you see preview is just lightning fast, right? So here is my product grid page that has, again, it's a simple layout, right? But it definitely shows how we can have a banner and then all of our products show down below. Okay. Pretty awesome. We can go to the about page. Oh, the about page is pretty boring, isn't it? Okay. Contact page. There we go. Okay. So to take this farther, I mean, if I were to, modify this layout, let's say I want to have a 2-column over here and I want to have my content there, and let's change the split of this. Let's make a medium instead. Let's make it like, 33%. Okay. And, now let's say we're going to have let's just do a menu, okay? And we're going to do a vertical menu, and we're just going to go, Hey, let's just say it's a sidebar with a bunch of links, okay? We can preview that. So there is my layout there. And guess what? If I go back to my pages, voila, right? So now I've modified my layout, and my layout is the same across all my pages. Okay, if we go to product A, product B, if you see the layout is the same. Okay, so yeah, what's really cool is now I just have a single layout here, but you can create multiple layouts and have different layouts for different pages if you'd like, right? And then you can override that in the page settings. Okay, which is going to be cool. Okay, as of right now, as of this beta, the inheritance of multiple layouts is. I think it's quasi disabled. Okay. There were some issues because right now we're focusing on themes. And so, yeah, some of that inheritance of the theme stuff has some quirks right now. Okay. But so, yeah, sticking with a single layout right now, it's working beautiful. Okay. Really, really loving that. Okay. So, yeah, power of layouts is going to be really awesome. We can still preview in the browser. Okay, so we can preview here. I can preview in the browser. Oh, I'm previewing the layout. Let's go ahead and go to a page, right? Let's go to this product page. Is probably the nicest one, right? So there we go. Yeah, pretty nice. If you see, if I click on it, it's fully functional site inside preview, just like what we're used to. Okay. Everything is pretty darn fast. Okay. All right, some things here. Okay. Couple things. What features aren't here? Okay. Let's load in. Now, if you've used, hey, here's something, right? Okay. If I double clicked on this in Markdown, I don't know if you guys know, but if you notice this, but the text is actually readable now. Like it's not I don't need a magnifying glass or even with my eyes, right? So yeah, the text is nice and big and we can edit it now, right? Yeah, that was something not controlled by Stacks before. So yeah, it's nice that we can actually control that now, or Stacks can. So it's made it a little bit bigger and a little easier to read. Okay, so that's definitely a nice warm addition for us there. Okay. Then, but what I want to talk about is styled text. Okay. Styled text from RapidWeaver. Okay, it was a RapidWeaver feature. Okay, that the Stacks plugin basically encapsulated into a stack. Right. So basically, if you remember, there was a style text page, and then it essentially took the technology from a style text page and injected it into a single stack that we could add to the page. Okay. Now, I've encouraged people not to use style text for many years. Okay. That's why Foundation 6, there is no style text anywhere to be seen because the code it generates is absolutely horrific. Okay. So the style text engine in Stacks is currently being rebuilt. And it won't be apples and apples. There won't be a direct feature to feature comparison. It will be maybe a scale down, okay, but it will have all the basics. You will have the ability to color text, I believe, right? Styled, bold, italic. None of these controls actually work right now, okay? So if you add the text stack, which was traditionally a style text box, it does not do anything, okay? So yeah, the controls are here. It doesn't do nothing, okay? But you can see that, yeah, the text is bigger, so that's always a nice thing, right? And if you have a latest Apple thing, actually, I just noticed this. You can actually use Apple Intelligence, boom, straight there, inside the app. So there we go. Okay, that's a nice thing. Thank you, Apple. So that's something about style text. The next thing is links. Okay, so another aspect that we used a lot, okay, was linking between pages, obviously, or using a link anywhere. Let's take, for example, or let's just go into like a Foundation 6 button stack. Okay, and let's do the link button, and we'll just add this to the top of the page. Okay, and if you click on this, the UI that we've been used to was a RapidWeaver UI, right? It was the RapidWeaver linking ability that allowed you to set links between resources and pages on the page. Okay, that's completely new, 100% new. There are actually some really weird quirks with that link that has already been fixed in Stacks, and I'm super happy about that. Okay. So how do we link? Basically right now we could just type in, let's say I wanted to make this button link to a product, right? So I would just say product A and voila. Okay. And you just say set link and it links to the page. Okay. And that's pretty cool. If you notice, this is a new a new UI. It's used in a couple different places. Oh, and also if you click on this little bad boy right there, you can edit the link attributes. Okay. So again, if I wanted to change this, we can just do like, product C, okay? And I can go ahead and link to product C. Now, something that's really nice here, let me go ahead, 1 second. Let me open up this bad boy here, okay? Stacks, the way it links to things is going to be far superior, okay? It will always link to the full URL, or not even the full path, okay? Which means it doesn't even need it. The URL is agnostic. It doesn't even matter what the domain of it is, right? It will always link to the fully qualified path of a page. And the way RapidWeaver did it, there were some odd things, the way it did relative paths, and you actually couldn't link to anything like this, which drove me batty. Okay, you actually couldn't link to something with just the full path. You had to put a URL, which was, again, one of the things that drove me nuts. So, yeah, I'm already loving the link, how it happens in the background. The functionality of it is a lot cleaner and nicer. Okay. Now, something I almost forgot is we now have an open quickly box, which is kind of cool. So if anyone like me, I love, my hands are always on the keyboard, right? So let's say I want to go to the product page. Okay. Voila. Okay. I want to go to my layout. There we go. I want to go to, my hands are not leaving my keyboard, anybody, right? I want to go to the contact us page. Boom. Right. So it's an easy way. Right now, it's only a way of navigating to pages and layouts. But I've talked to him. This would be a really great thing of just like maybe a command palette, or, we can use this for so many awesome things that I think the future of this is very exciting. Okay. Again, yeah, just go ahead. It's when you guys get it, it's Command Shift O for open quickly. Okay. And then you just type in whatever you want, and it just takes you directly there. Pretty cool, right? I think that's really awesome. Okay. Love that. Oh, okay. Some things I was taking, good thing I was showing this off to someone on the Hangout on Friday, and it did something that kind of blew their mind, and I took it for granted. So this is another interesting little thing. I'm going to go ahead and let's add a new page. Okay. And let's just call this page, I don't know, live stream. Oops. All right. So I've created a new page. I've called it live stream. And let's go into the page inspector. Okay. And you can change the page title here, by the way, as well. Now, I don't know if you noticed this, but the folder name by default, remember in RapidWeaver, okay, folder names are always like page 1, page 2, page 55 million, whatever, right? That isn't very helpful having, page 1, page 2 as the default folder name, okay? So here it actually goes ahead and gets the page title, and the folder name, actually, if you look here, it's called live stream. Now, remember, look, the default file name is index.php because earlier I went ahead and changed the default extension of every page to be PHP. So this new page that I created is, now what's kind of cool is, if you notice, these are kind of grayed out because those are the default values. Stacks is saying, hey, I automatically named this something, but let's say I didn't want to call this live stream. I want to call it Hangout or something like that. Now I've overridden that. Okay, which is pretty cool, right? So yeah, the default folder naming structure is a nice touch. I think it's done a really good job there. Okay. Okay. I'm sure there are a lot of other things that I'm overlooking here. Okay. Actually, for fun, let's go ahead and I'll be honest. The Reason Pro theme is definitely actually should have done that when I did a new project. Here, let's go ahead and show you what that. It's raw right now. Okay, everybody. I mean, it's like days old. But it's a work in progress. So I set my primary theme to be, again, there's multiple ways we can do it. I can go ahead and go in here, double click on Reason Pro. Let's just go ahead and add some content to this page. Text. Let's just add some text to the page. Okay. And preview. Okay. So here is Reason Pro. If I go into my theme settings, we can go ahead and say background. I've always liked the wood background in Reason. So there we go. We have that nice gray wood background. And there's my content. The theme's a work in progress. So like the banner image doesn't show, but you see it builds out the navigation. Okay. So let's say like page 3, I don't want that. Let's go ahead and go into page 3 and I can turn that off in the navigation. Okay. And oops. Well, that's something we got to work on. Okay. So there we go. Actually, I'll be honest, didn't test that. So that's something I tested live as we speak. And there we go. Okay. So yeah, there's just to kind of show you that, yeah, there's an actual theme, how the settings are, always right here inside, the panel for the theme settings. Okay. It's pretty cool. Let's migrate a little bit, just kind of show you or talk about a little bit the changes to Foundation. Okay. And what we have here. Now, sorry if you're not a Foundation user, but yeah, it's pretty full featured, right? It's pretty feature compatible. Okay, I should say as of right now. With Foundation 6 currently, with the Stacks plugin, you had to drag out site styles everywhere. Okay. Now, once you set Foundation as your theme, all your site style settings are right here inside the theme settings. Okay, so you can go ahead and set your colors, your text, sizes, and all the stuff that you would set inside the main site style stack right here. Now, as we saw in this particular layout, you can then add swatches to your layouts. You can also add additional swatches that were specific to this page. You could do all of that, right? And if you had multiple layouts and you wanted to share styles across different layouts, you could still partial this. Okay. Yeah, so you could still partial this swatch and then have that partial across multiple layouts. So we're still going to have partials. Partials are very powerful. They're not going anywhere. Okay. Currently, there will be a partials tab here. It was removed from this particular version because it needed a little bit of work. So currently, partials you can't create or add partials yet. Okay, but the engine is still there. It's the same partial engine from Stacks plugin. It just needs a little bit of tweaking to work in the Stacks app. Okay. Resources. Yes. So there are a couple other tabs over here that are currently disabled. You'll see here, this is images and assets. Okay. And these will be the ability, I believe in the images tab, any image that you add throughout the project will show up in the images kind of inspector, okay, or tree view here. And then there's a general assets pane here that you can then add your own assets. Okay, so I see that they do exist here. They're just hidden. They're disabled right now, so I can't show you. Okay, right now we only have access to pages and layouts. Okay, but there is an images and an assets tab. Okay, actually let's go ahead and I'm gonna go ahead and export this site really quick. So let's go ahead and export this, and I'm just gonna create a new folder. Let's just call it live stream. Okay, and I just hide my icons on my desktop, so I'm gonna have to go find it here. Where is my desktop? There it is, desktop. Oh yeah, live stream. Okay. Oh, darn. Okay. Still let's just go ahead and delete those really quick. There's currently a bug where some things, some extraneous folders get created sometimes. It's mostly when you create a new page. So anyway, but let's look. I thought it'd be fun to look at the structure of how things are published. As you see here, we have all the pages for each page in this project, right? So remember, let's go over here so we can see all the pages. Okay. So here we have the about page with the actual web page, and then inside files is the CSS and JavaScript for that page. Okay. And then we go to contact, same thing. The files folder here is for the home page, which is right there. Okay. Here we have that live streams page that we created. The products page with the subfolders for each product. Okay. Now this is different. If you notice in all of these, like there's no images. Like for example, this product page, I had images. Okay. And before, inside products files, there would be those images that I added. Okay. However, okay, all images now are site wide. Okay, so if you go to site assets, this is where everything, the way Stacks has their sites published is beautifully done. Okay, it's very well organized. So if we go to site assets images, you'll see that here are all of the images, especially this one. I forget who created this one, but tip the hat to you. Okay. So all of these images are site assets now. Okay. So what that means is if I were to go ahead and let's say copy and paste this somewhere else, and actually I've done that, right? If we go to product A, here is that. Okay. But Stacks knows that, hey, it's using the same exact image. So even though these are in a picture stack, okay, the same exact image is used on both the main products page and product A. They're both referencing the same exact image that gets exported to the site assets images folder. This is huge, okay? Because before, a lot of times you wouldn't even know, like, especially if you use something like the picture stack, and, a lot of times we would warehouse images because we wanted to make sure that stuff like this was done. But now Stacks does it for us, right? Super cool. Okay. So yeah, that's really cool. Now inside here, we'll notice we have a layouts folder, and each layout gets a generic ID, okay, associated to it. And then inside there is stacks and CSS files. Now, what does that mean? Okay, so when we create our layout, okay, this layout has CSS and JavaScript associated with it. And what's kind of cool is that JavaScript and CSS for this particular layout gets encapsulated into these files. Now, why would that be good? Currently, because we are building everything at the page level, okay, all the CSS and all the JavaScript that would be from my layout would get injected in the page-specific CSS and JavaScript, okay? But now, because it's all properly organized, we can benefit from caching because each page basically references these centralized CSS and JavaScript files for this particular layout. So it's pretty amazing, right? Super awesome. Then we have stuff like libraries, like jQuery and stuff like that. Stuff in the libraries folder used to be buried under like RW Commons, plugins, Stacks, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Same thing for Stacks. Organization here. I won't dive into the organization here, but we have basically the libraries, which are, libraries that Stacks are using. And then we have specific files for particular stacks. And then we have themes, right? So I'm not going to dive into all the structure here, but just I'll tell you from my experience, it's organized very well. It's organized well for performance. It's organized well for everything. For caching, it's going to be great. Okay. So there we go. That is kind of a glimpse at how the published website is organized and how everything looks and why it's superior to what we have now. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna let's go ahead and look at the chat. I know the chat's been streaming super busy. So I want to make sure I didn't miss anything before I start jumping into the Q&A really quick. Okay. All right, fantastic. Very nice layouts. Mentioned layouts are not layouts is not cool. It's fantastic. Can we also turn the layout per page? Yes. Okay. So if I don't, you don't have to use layouts. Okay. If you love continuing building how you're currently building a site, you don't have to use layouts. Okay. You just build everything on the page and that's it. Okay. You don't need to use the layout. So yeah, if you prefer building everything on a per page basis, no problem. You don't have to use the layouts at all. Okay. Does Command Z work? Yes, Command Z does work. I don't know. Here, let's paste a bunch of stuff in here, and I'm just gonna Command Z. There, I just Command Z'd about 15 times, and we don't have any. Oh, look, it undid the. I went all the way back to when I changed all this stuff. Look, I'm still Command Z'ing. It didn't Command Z the page added. It Command Z'd when I changed this live stream page name, right? So But yeah, I just did 30 or 40 different undos. I just kept spamming the Command Z. You can kind of see it up here. Now I'm back to all the way when I open, I'm getting a ding on the Mac OS. There's nothing else to Command Z. So, yeah, no, I'm not saying that it's perfect and that there aren't going to be some issues, but yeah, I have noticed that Command Z works a whole lot nicer. Okay, good question, Ryan. Okay, thank you for the folder name default. Yes, will RW projects port to Stacks? Okay, well, let's talk about that. I know it's part of the questions, but I think that's obviously going to be a common question. Okay. Let's just go ahead and I'm going to open up a project. Okay. Here, actually, I'll open up this project file right here that I've been working on recently. And just because I know it has quite a complex page. So now this might not go well, but we'll see. Right now, there isn't a direct import ability. Okay, so there is no I think something along those lines is planned for the future, where I have a project file, and maybe I'm not sure if it'll be like an export from here and then an import here, or I don't know all the intricacies of how that import will work. However, let me show you what we can do now. Okay, I can go ahead and I'll create a new page. Actually, let's just go. All right, here I already have a new page. Okay. So yeah, I'm just going to go over here. I'm going to do Command A, Command C. I'm going to go over here and paste. And of course, I knew I went from like 0 to 1,000 on that one. Okay, let's go to it. Let's open up a simpler project. Obviously, okay. Let's go to Sandbox. All right. Let's find a. I got this one. I'm just going to do Command A in here. Okay. And paste. Oh, okay. Well, that was interesting. That's something new because I command pasted. We will have to work with Isaiah on that one. But okay. Oops. Here, I don't. Let's close that project. Okay. Interesting. So if I command C over there. Interesting. This behavior is new. He must have done something in one of the latest betas. It's been a while since I've command pasted, but I don't have the project anymore. But my entire foundation Stacks.com site, I migrated the entire thing into Stacks app just by doing copy paste. Okay, I wonder if it's site styles that kind of broke it. Oh, something in site styles. Here I'm curious now. Nothing like doing stuff live, right? Okay. So I'm wondering if I go into, let's find a slightly more complex page. What is this? I have no idea what that is. Oh, no, I don't want to do that page. That's not going to work well. Let's open up that other project. I'm curious if I do, I think, actually this one stack contains everything. So let's go ahead and I'm going to copy that. I don't even know if I have all these stacks installed inside Stacks app. I'll be honest. Okay, yeah. Not sure what the problem was there, but oh well. But as you saw, copy paste. I'll file some bugs with them on that. But yeah, eventually we'll be able to copy paste things over. It worked much better in earlier betas, maybe like even a month ago. So something recently has changed in that respect that that I'm sure we'll look at. But yeah, I did do that with the Stacks, as I said, foundationstacks.com. It took me like 20, 30 minutes tops to migrate that entire project over, just by copying and pasting. Okay. And it actually was working quite well. So there we go. That is going to be at least initially the simplest method. Now, another thing I talked about, there were some caveats, okay, such as, let's have a look, right? Let's go ahead and open this. And I'm kind of doing stuff I don't even know how it's going to react. So let's see. Let's see if I have style text, okay? And here, let's just go ahead and I'm going to make that bold. I am actually going to use the style text engine a little bit. So I made that text bold. Let's copy that. And if I paste it over here, let's just go from a blank page. So it pasted the content. And that's what I thought what I thought it was going to be, right? We didn't lose the content. And while it does look kind of styled in here, when we preview the page, yeah, it's not going to be styled any longer. Okay. So yeah, small caveat, with style text. Again, he does bring over the actual raw text content, so we don't lose that. But any sort of styling that you've done or any linking that you've done in text, so let's say I've added a link into here, the linking will need to be redone, okay? Because the linking within a RapidWeaver document is different. Again, that was like a RapidWeaver feature, okay? So yeah, there will be some work in terms of migration. Will he be able to maybe during some import process make that better? I don't know. Hopefully that would be nice, but I don't know. Okay. So yeah, importing projects. Man, that copy paste was working much better a little while ago. So, oh well, sorry about that. It is a beta though. Okay. Let's see. But with that said, there should be nearly 100% compatibility between any stack that you have installed and Stacks.app, right? The Stacks engine, the Stacks API is 100% backwards compatible. There could be a stack that maybe uses some sort of RapidWeaver feature. I'll give you one example. Okay. So my portal stack, okay. Right now, if you are using my portal stack, it won't work as expected in Stacks.app right now. And the reason is the way portal works is it's highly reliant on how RapidWeaver publishes a website. Okay, it knows the exact structure of how RapidWeaver published everything. And obviously because Stacks changes how everything is organized on publish, portal will break. There's no doubt. Okay. And so the fix for that is, for now, partials. Okay, just move from portal to partials, or maybe the new layouts engine could work great for you for that as well. Will portal ever come back into Stacks? We'll see. It's not going to be. I'll be honest, it won't be a high priority for me. But that's the only stack that I am aware of right now. And it has nothing to do with the Stacks API. It's purely because the way portal worked, it relied 100% on how RapidWeaver published things and the structure of how files were published. Highly reliant on that. So that is the only stack that I'm aware of from me that will not work. And again, it has nothing to do with Stacks or the API. It's purely just because what portal was doing for us. Okay. All right. Let's see. Is 100,000 plus images, asset subdirectories possible? I don't know, Danny. 100,000 images. That's pretty crazy. I don't know if I want to publish 100,000 images via any sort of publishing infrastructure, right? I don't know. I don't think anyone's ever tested 100,000 images. Let us know, Danny, how that works out. Okay. What is the best kind of import RW site functionality? Okay, I think we've talked about import. There's a lot of import questions. Can you import the published? No, you cannot import a published site. Yeah, there is no way to go from a published site into a Stacks project. Not possible. You'll have to, build the site inside Stacks. Okay, for that to happen. Okay. I think it was, Jeff says, I think it was site styles that broke it. Could be. It could be me that I did something with, having foundation. I totally didn't even talk about that. I kind of skipped. I think we got sidetracked, on why. So in foundation now, you don't have to have site styles on the page, because the theme contains all of these settings. Oh no, I did talk about that. I did, because then we talked about swatches and how you can have swatches and layouts and all that jazz. Okay, so cool. All right, let's go. Let's bring up the questions that we had, And here, I'll just plop them in here. For those of you that didn't see, this is Isaiah took the time to respond to everybody's questions. Now let's go ahead and make them like a side-by-side here. So, well, a couple things that are nice. I just realized as I was doing this, the sidebar here is resizable. So I know some people were wondering about, maybe limits of text that could be visible and whatnot. So it's kind of nice. Sometimes, I actually like having it slightly wider than what we had before. It kind of gives us a little bit more room in some of the, like the number 4 settings or whatnot. So I kind of like that. So yeah, that's nice. It is kind of responsive. If we go to like the themes, that's where I was. Okay. If going to the stacks, this stack doesn't have any settings. Oh, there we go. Okay. All of these are the same. The default stack settings and various things hasn't really changed there. Okay. Let's go ahead and just resize this a little bit. Okay. So a lot of questions about importing. Okay, can we copy paste whole sets of Stacks layouts from Stacks plugin to Stacks app? As we saw, my experience in the past was that worked really, really well. There was some sort of glitch right now. I'm not 100% sure what that was, but that will be the case. You should be able to copy paste and or drag and drop. I would expect drag and drop actually here. I think that used to work as well. It's been a while since I've tested that. But if I just kind of drag and drop doesn't work. You have to copy paste. Okay, so there we go. Okay, really quick. I am going to quit this. Don't save. Okay, just to show you the process of starting and how fast it is to start working on projects. So I'm going to open up this project. I completely quit Stacks. Okay, and so I'm going to open up this project, and voila, I can already go ahead and oh man, something is hey, there's something about some of these pages that it doesn't like, but as you see, it's dynamically loading all the stacks down here at the bottom. But when I go to a page, I mean, your Stacks project is pretty much immediately usable. Okay. Yeah, I'll look into that. Let's just do that again. So it's opened up. I'm on the home page. If I click to this product page, now it worked, obviously. Okay, obviously it works the second time. So yeah, as you see, it's loading Stacks in the background. But what's kind of cool is when you go to the page, it like immediately loads all the resources that it needs to start working on that page, right? But yeah, super fast. I'm super excited about that. I'm really happy with the performance of Stacks. Okay. Let's leave that open. Okay. Can we import RapidWeaver projects or export pages from Stacks plugin? I don't know. Okay, there is talks. I mean, none of that has been built yet. There is plans. I don't know if it will be an import or an export from Stacks plugin or an import process. It's feasible. I know technically it could potentially be feasible, but I think copy paste, I know that will be something that is available on day one, and it should work better than in the future. Okay. Would we describe a conservative approach to follow when RW? Okay. Is there theme compatibility? We'll talk about themes in a little bit. I think there's another dedicated FAQ about that, but RapidWeaver themes will not work inside Stacks. However, the way Isaiah has built the theme API, it shouldn't take a lot of work to get a RapidWeaver theme into Stacks. Okay. I've said this publicly before. I acquired the entire Nick Cates back catalog, and I don't know if I'm going to bring all of them over. Okay, but Reason will definitely be the first one. Where we're going to bring some of those legacy Nick Cates themes, I'll modernize them a little bit, definitely make them Foundation 6 compatible so that you can use Foundation 6 stacks with them and all that stuff. That'll be really exciting. So if a developer has a RapidWeaver theme, it shouldn't take too much work to get them working inside Stacks, the new Stacks theme API. Okay, how do we migrate content? Okay, we've talked about, I think, all of that. Do we have to rebuild site structure? So in terms of site structure, you don't need to rebuild the site structure unless you want to start utilizing these new layouts. Then at that point, you might want to try to refactor. But I would think at first what I would do if I had a large website, I'd migrate everything over to on a page here just by basically copying and pasting. Then I will build a layout and then go back through each page and have that page use the layout. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think it will be at one fell swoop. You could just kind of migrate everything over. But if you want to leverage layouts, it's going to be a little bit of work on you to make sure that you use this new feature. Okay, but again, you're not required to use the new layouts feature. You can continue to build everything on a per page basis, just like you are today. Okay, compatibility of all third-party stacks. I think we talked about that. Yeah, the API itself is 100% backwards compatible, but there are some stacks that might be leveraging something that is from the old RapReaver days. Okay, and I talked about Portal. What's the pricing? Okay, will it be a subscription? The answer is no. Okay, no subscriptions. Okay, so Isaiah, he has a lengthy answer here where there might eventually be an option if you wanted to do a subscription, but there will always be a one-time buy option. Okay, so yeah, I have to admit that was actually kind of news to me. I know we've talked about subscriptions a lot. So yeah, the short answer, no subscriptions. Okay. What operating system? Okay, so operating system, currently, as of today, it's macOS 11. Okay, which I think was 4 operating systems ago. We are on, what are we on now? We're on 15. Okay, so yeah, 4 operating systems ago. I don't remember what California was. That Catalina? I don't remember. Okay, but macOS 11. But he's gonna try to go back to I think 10.15 if he can. I think. I know an earlier build of Stacks worked on 10.15 because I had an Intel laptop, which I've now jailbreaking, and I'm running Sequoia on it. But I know earlier builds of the Stacks app ran on 10.15. However, I also know the latest version of Xcode really pushes developers forward. So it made it harder and harder to compile for those older OSs. So as of right now, Mac OS 11, okay, which is some Intel Macs, but all M series Macs. Okay. PHP, can we preview PHP files? As you saw, yes, you can. Okay. It has a mini PHP preview server baked in. PHP 8.3, I believe. Here, let's have a look. Server. Do I not have? Oh, no, here it is. Server info. Let's just look at that really quick. It is, down here, 8.3. So PHP 8.3. Okay, cool. Which is nice because that's the latest version. I think it's 8.3.1, I think, is the current release. Actually, no, 8.4 just got shipped last month, or maybe a month and a half ago. So, all right. FTP. So as of right now, as you saw, there was an export, and that exports locally. Here, he said no comment about whether or not FTP is coming or what will be the case there. However, I'll give you some insider information, and he actually leaks it a little bit further down here, wherever it was. Okay, before poop hit the fan, and all the drama happened, Isaiah was actually working on a complementary app to the Stacks plugin and whatnot. And I know he built some FTP and SFTP. Actually, I think it was just SFTP. And so I know he has that entire bit of code working. I may or may not have seen how fast it is, which is nice. Okay, so I know he has an SFTP engine built. So yeah, I imagine that is going to be leveraged inside Stacks. Okay, so that we can have SFTP baked directly into Stacks. Okay. Just as what we're used to now. Okay. So he says no comment here, but further down, if you read into it, he actually says that he was building an FTP app somewhere in here. I think it was somewhere. So trust me, it's in there somewhere. So giving a little bit of insider information. That's not insider information because he actually said it later on. So sorry, Isaiah, if you're watching this. Okay, extensible or self-contained. When the next beta drops, will we be able to develop full sites with the base platform, or will we rely on third-party developers? Okay, so yeah, Isaiah's answer is perfect here. The Stacks app will be very similar to what the Stacks plugin is. Okay, you can build something simple out of the box. There's a bunch of free stacks. I recommend my starter pack. It's free. It has a lot of powerful tools in it that you can use to build a pretty decent layouts for a website, all for free. However, the power of the Stacks ecosystem is that we have third-party developers with over 700 stacks available out there that, yeah, can do almost anything. Okay, so yeah, yes, you'll be able to build sites with just the base platform. But it's great that we have an ecosystem of developers that allows us to do things that we couldn't do without it. Okay. Is this a clean slate? No. Okay. Isaiah has a big, fat, long, lengthy reply here. In short, no. Okay. It is, again, keeping backwards compatibility with existing stacks is a huge benefit. Okay. You're not going to lose any of your investments that you've made, probably hundreds of dollars in stacks. You'll still be able to use them in Stacks app. Okay. Projects, you'll be, if you have an existing project inside RapidWeaver, you'll be able to copy those over. Now, if you're using a RapidWeaver theme, that does rely, if you want to use that same exact theme, that hopefully that developer is still around. There aren't many people around still making RapidWeaver themes. Okay. So yeah, hopefully if that developer's still around, they'll be able to, port that theme into Stacks. Okay. And yeah, copy paste, or maybe in the future we'll have some sort of import ability that can save you a little bit of time. Okay. But all in all, you do not need to start from scratch. Okay. I think that's the best case scenario for everybody involved. Especially if you're, a casual user that, wants to use the new stuff. But yeah, you don't want to start from scratch. And that's not the case with other new apps that are being developed right now. That is 1,000% starting completely from scratch, which isn't cool. Okay. So yeah, I think huge leg up for anyone that, moves to Stacks app. You don't need to start from scratch. Okay, concerning Foundry. So it's unfortunate that Adam has decided to close up shop, especially the way that he did, but we're not going to talk about that. Okay. Will Foundry work in Stacks app? The short answer, yes. Okay. You might be wondering, but the Foundry, what about the RapidWeaver theme? Adam isn't going to ship a new Foundry theme for Stacks. He's made it blatantly clear that he does not want to ship any updates or help anybody do anything, really. Okay. But we're lucky. The Foundry theme was pretty much the dumbest theme out there. And yeah, it contained virtually nothing. It contained no logic. It didn't even contain the Bootstrap libraries. Okay. Everything was handled by I think it was the Foundry stack, whatever his version of site styles was. I think it was just the Foundry stack. Okay. And because that uses Stacks API, the Stacks API is 100% backwards compatible. Foundry will work in Stacks app. I did some tests a while ago. I was able to get things working. Okay. It all worked just with the base theme that comes with Stacks app. Okay. So yeah, if you're a Foundry user, go ahead and continue using, migrate to Stacks, set your theme to be the base theme. I think there is one feature that required like a single div exist inside the theme. All you have to do is, you can probably have a little FAQ on create this one div, and that one little, it was like an animation feature. I forget what it was. It was an edge case feature of Foundry. But yeah, there was one div that needed to be created, and you could just manually create that with a container stack, give it a class, and you're done. Okay. And then you have 100% functionality of your Foundry site. Super easy to do. So Isaiah didn't know that, so he talks about this, a bunch of other stuff. Now, long term, I do recommend you moving to something that is supported and actively developed, because over time, your Foundry, bugs will come up. Maybe things will start feeling a little bit old and crinkety. You're not going to be able to. You probably still use the new layouts APIs. You could probably actually use some of that with Foundry. Maybe you can add the Foundry stacks into the layout. I don't know. I don't see why you shouldn't be able to. Okay, probably help you a lot. Actually, make things a little bit faster. But I do recommend finding some new alternatives. Okay, going forward. I have a lot of resources. I won't go into the entire pitch here. There's a lot of resources on the Weaverspace community. I even have a upgrade discount if you want to move to Foundation. Yeah. There's an entire Foundry chat on Weaverspace community dedicated to that. So if you're a Foundry user and you're still looking for a new home and places to get help, check out Weaverspace. We're there for you. Okay. All right. Some odds and ends here. Someone asked about SEO Helper. Yes, SEO Helper will still work. I think eventually Stacks will, it doesn't have any meta tag stuff in here yet. Okay. So yeah, if you're serious about SEO and you want to use Stacks from day one, SEO Helper is going to be your jam. Okay. Yeah, if you want to edit all the meta tags you want, SEO Helper will 100% still work in Stacks.app. So there we go. And a benefit of if you're using SEO Helper, a benefit there is that when you migrate your project over, all of that data comes over for free because it's all using Stacks. Okay, so yeah, SEO Helper is going to be a great way for you to migrate that. If you're using the meta tags editor inside RapidWeaver, you might have to redo some of that. Okay. I'm not sure that data is accessible via any sort of import process. I don't know. Okay. But if you're using SEO Helper, yes. Worst comes to worst, copy paste it over and you're done. Okay. Font be bigger. We talked about how the font, it's super nice that the font's bigger now. Okay. Really nice. Will it be possible to integrate or build a database through the app? Isaiah wishes he could say yes. So there are third-party products out there that allow you to do things such as Total CMS and feeds, allow you to integrate with databases or build a database. It is not within the Stacks app. It's something that is done outside of that. But yeah, maybe we'll see something someday. But as of day one, Stacks doesn't have anything like that built in. But with its API, we have third-party solutions for it, okay? Such as the new Total CMS 3 coming out soon. It's currently in beta as well. It's pretty awesome, if I say so myself, okay? So someone asked, can we open pages side by side? And Isaiah, I liked his response. No, but it's a good idea. I like your thinking. I agree. I think being able to see two pages at once could be kind of a cool idea. Not currently possible though. Okay. What are features comparison? We've talked all day about, I give you a tour and some of the features. Hopefully you guys have seen what features are different. Okay. How do we manage app complexity? Using agent with two languages. It's the same thing. Okay. So that workflow with, at least for your, I don't remember who asked that question, with agent managing that sort of level of complexity. Hopefully layouts actually will make that a little bit easier because you can kind of centralize a lot of that stuff. But yeah, Stacks right now doesn't support a new workflow for those means of multi-language websites. So a solution such as Agent, like you're using already, is probably the best way. Okay. Search and replace globally. It's on the to-do list. Will Stacks Pro have an improved inspector, making it easier to enter over 28 characters of length, but not truncate it? Oh, I think that person's talking about this. So yeah, I mean, you can expand this to make it a little bit bigger. If you like, you can talk to the developer of a particular stack, and there are different input types that allow you to add more. For example, if I go ahead and add, maybe Pen doesn't have it. No, Pen doesn't have it. I think my group stack does. Yeah, like there are different types of input that has more lines. Okay, there's 3. We have 1 line. I think there's like a 4 line and then a 10 line, right? So you can have different size input boxes. So if you want more space there, talk to the dev of that stack and ask, hey, can this setting be made into, a box that has more lines? I would be open to that idea. Let me know. Okay. How will live preview work? As you've seen it all day, right? It's just like we have already, and you can also preview in the browser. Okay. Will there remain an opportunity to use Stacks as it is today? If yes, how long will it be available in the future? Yeah, Isaiah will continue to support the Stacks plugin as long as he can. I'd personally recommend move to Stacks.app. Okay. It's where the future will be. So yeah, a Rapweaver isn't going to continuing supporting. They're going to kill it off as soon as possible. That's my opinion. I have no facts to back that up. But I believe Rapweaver, it's on as soon as Real Mac can, they will ditch it. Okay. That's just my opinion. Okay. A few more questions. Let's see. Will the stacks and themes we purchased current projects be usable? So we've talked about similar questions. Yeah. So third-party stacks, themes. We've talked about those. All third-party stacks should work over. Themes, the developer will have to, do a little bit of work to get that to work in Stacks app, and probably won't be a free update. Okay. How much is it? We'll know more about that when it's released. I don't even have that information, so I can't even try to leak you that information. No clue. All right. Will we have a working app by June 30th? Well, as you see what we have now, with developers, we can't promise any sort of dates. Will this be officially shipped? I don't know, by June 30th. But we're shooting, what you see here, hopefully should be released to the people at the summit. I don't know if it'll be a general public release or, curtailed to just people at the summit. Last year, the people at the summit got the first betas. Will that be true this year? I don't know. And it's up to Isaiah if he wants to give it out to the world. I think within a couple weeks, he gave it to the rest of the world, the current beta. That is very limited. But as you see, this beta is pretty decent. There's a lot we can do with it. And so, yeah, I'm not sure who the target audience will be for whenever it is released. Will it be people that attend the summit, or will it be the general public? Soon, I'm assuming not too far after, probably be the general public, but people at the summit might have first dibs. I don't know. Okay. I am totally open. But by the summit, our goal is to the entire summit is to use Stacks app. Okay. You will not see any sort of other web design tool being used by the presenters. Our goal is so that the presenters will use Stacks app. So, yeah, excited about that. Okay. If just a small plug for the summit, it is coming up in just over a month. Okay. April 11th to the 13th, 3 days, 100% online. Check it out. summit.weavers.space. And or stackssummit.com. That will redirect you there. And there we go. Okay. There was another one. What macros will Stacks Pro offer? I think Isaiah misunderstood that question. I'm not aware of any new macros yet. Okay. However, with that said, I know probably a powerful macro that I know a lot of people used was base URL. Okay. And that was because of a limitation in RapidWeaver where you couldn't link anything with a starting with a slash, right? So, but as we saw earlier, Stacks doesn't have that problem. And I'm going to recommend that's actually what we use. We actually don't need to supply a domain name for warehoused images or anything like that. So, I'm going to recommend don't even put in the domain. That way it doesn't matter if you publish to a sandbox domain. You don't need to worry about swapping out the domain name because it's just going to be referenced to the path. So there we go. Okay. But yeah, if you have any other questions along that lines, or maybe we can have an open discussion on the Hangout this Friday. I welcome anyone who wants to join in and ask some more interactive questions and give feedback on Friday at the Hangout. I will go back to the chat in a second and look to see if there's any other open questions that I can answer. So if you have any questions, please go ahead and put that in the chat right now, and I'll make sure I answer that. But we are about to wrap up here. Okay. Okay, let's go. Let's look through the chat. Let's see if I missed anything. Okay. Warning about the portal stack. Yep. Okay. What about total CMS sites? Total CMS will continue to work just like any other stack. I wouldn't. I'll be honest, I haven't tested a full total CMS site in Stacks.app yet. But I do expect it to work. But yeah, that's something we'll definitely make sure we test and make sure that everything works. Okay. There's going to be a lot of. I mean, obviously, I have a ton of stacks. So I want to make sure that everything is seamless as possible for everybody. Okay. My goal is to make sure that everything works regardless. Okay. So, and I will not make you pay for any sort of new version of Total CMS to migrate it into Stacks. Okay. The current version of all the stacks that you have right now should be serviceable in Stacks.app minus Portal. I talked quite a bit about that one earlier. So, okay. Portal will require a complete rewrite. I don't expect that for any of my other stacks. If there are any sort of little quirks here and there, I will ship free updates to make sure that they work inside Stacks.app. Okay. You shouldn't have to buy anything new to get your existing websites working. Okay. Transmit should be fine. Yeah. I know a lot of people love using Transmit. Funny enough, just a quick little tangent on Transmit. I've noticed at least once I upgraded to Sequoia, like it's the first time I've ever started having little quirks with Transmit. So yeah, I'm kind of sad about that. So yeah, I posted some alternatives on the community if anyone's interested. But Transmit, yeah, for years it was my go-to, but my loyalties have been waning a little bit with its crashes and some of its quirks that it's had recently. So anyway, hopefully Panix does it and they come out with either a new version or something. Okay, excited about that. Hey, okay, can you make the document you're scrolling through available for download? This document here, or are you talking about this question? I'm not sure, Matthias, which one you're talking about. The Stacks project. That's not going to do anything for you because you don't have the latest beta, so it's not going to open up in your version. So I'm happy to make this project available once the beta is available. I'll probably have even a nicer demo file to show you. Okay, by then. So, but I'm happy to share. You know me. I like sharing everything that I have. Okay, so anything to make you guys more successful. Okay. Does the new Stacks app have a badge feature like built with? I assume you're joking, Erwin. No, there is no badge feature inside Stacks app. Oh, I see you're laughing next. Yeah. There is no ransomware to remove it either. Hey, I'm not gonna go down that path. I'm gonna stay nice. Okay. You almost hooked me there, Erwin. Almost got me to go down the rabbit hole. Okay. Inspector text fields are currently too small. Both text fields and the text area, for example, SEO meta tags, page descriptions, URLs, type size is truncated. Okay. Yeah, like I said, yeah, let me know. I'm happy to, as you see, the inspectors are resizable. And if you need something bigger, we can do that. We can talk to Isaiah about maybe making the font size here bigger. Yeah, I mean, I guess the font size there could be a little bit bigger. We could talk about him about that. Maybe that could be his app setting or something like that. Not sure. Is there a time with Stacks app will be rolled out? I think I answered that. So our goal is to have it rolled out by the summit, at least a beta. Okay. And again, I don't know who the audience to that will be. Will it be people who just attend the summit, or will it be available widely? I don't know. But I'll tell you, if you want to guarantee to get one, get yourself a Stack Summit ticket. Okay. Okay. So there we go. Awesome 3 days. Awesome 3-day event. Yeah, I recommend it. Hopefully everyone in the chat who attended the summit and thought they got everything that they wanted out of it, let them know. I'd appreciate that. This year, we're already full of speakers. Actually, I might have enough to do 6 speakers a day this year. Super excited about that. So hopefully we'll get to that. Okay, it's so much to talk about this year. Okay. 80 minutes is a tag long for me. Well, so, feel free to leave. We are wrapping up now. But I wanted to make sure I give you guys a full tour, answered all of your questions. And it looks like I have. So, thank you very much, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this tour of Stacks. You can kind of see how its current state and things are. I was hoping for 0 crashes, but yeah, I crashed it. Funny enough, I never got any crashes until obviously you do something on the live stream. You're like, oh, I've never tried this before. Let's try it. And then so there we go. But anyway, thank you very much. Hope, you got some value out of this. If you have any more questions, please either post them in the community, come join us on Friday at the Hangouts, and we'll see you then. Take care, everyone. Have a wonderful rest of your week. Go out there and make your website